Welcome, friends, family, patriots, believers alike. Welcome to this edition of The Grid. So, if you can still fog a window, then you likely have been overwhelmed by what you've seen in the media. Well, we break it all down to you today. And today it's all about Kamala. So, I find it super interesting that Biden was an incompetent, senile, fragile, horribly weak, cognitively degenerated individual. But somehow this same person now, by the same media, is a hero. Historic, transformative, great, wonderful, honest, full of integrity, transparent, and selfless. Really? Selfless? Come on, man. Let's get real. Ask yourself this question. If he was beating Trump by 5 points in all the polls, would he still be the Democratic candidate? I'm not convinced. I mean, it's not even a question. This is not about integrity. It isn't about selflessness. This is about the hysteria, the absolute panic that, oh my gosh, Trump might actually win. So the donors pulled out, the Democrat politicians revolted, and the media cartel went ballistic. A no holds barred match to absolutely, unequivocally get Biden out of office. Heck, even George Stephanopoulos and Lester Holt did interviews that were originally touted as to help Biden demonstrate to the American people that he was fully mentally capable. Well, it ended up being a complete coup to actually demonstrate what we all know he really is. These are the same people who've been touting his worthiness for years and crucifying anyone who said otherwise. The disingenuous nature of all these people, quite frankly, is sickening. And why? All because they knew that he would lose against Trump. And let that be a lesson for anyone, any of you who think the liberal machine actually serves you. They will discard you like a bad habit if they think for a single moment you cannot win their agenda for them. So why did I share all that? Well, that's how we end up with Kamala. She's now secured the delegates to be the presumptive presidential nominee for the Democratic Party. She also has the endorsement of all the folks that count, the Clintons, Obamas, Hollywood. In fact, expect this groundswell of momentum to continue. She is the savior. She is the one saving the United States from Trump. She is the savior of democracy. That's what I keep hearing. I don't know about you. Now, that's pretty funny, by the way, the savior of democracy. She's being nominated by delegates and the Democratic Party in which she did not receive one single vote for president. Not one out of 14 million Democrat primary votes that were cast. This is protecting democracy? Sounds like a coup to me. Remember when I used to say the cartel, AKA Democratic Party, AKA liberals, AKA extremists, AKA terrorist lovers? Remember when I used to say that for them, the ends justifies all means? No better case in point than right here and right now. Well, folks, she is off to a booming start. She's been talking and talking and talking, or should I say, she's been nonstop cackling all week long. She's espousing her love and affection for Joe Biden when everyone knows that behind the scenes, they absolutely loathe each other. She never would visit the border, but yet she was the border czar by position, if in actuality more like a doormat. She did nothing. It's reported that she spent hours each day in her office playing solitaire on her computer. And in fact, if we were to use some of her words to describe her day, knowing that she's played solitaire, it might be something like this. What can be unburdened by what has been? Now I'll translate for you. It apparently means that what can be is that I can move this king because I got my ace out of the pile. And unburdened by what has been means that the cards underneath that king now are blocked, that were blocked anyway, can now be moved because of that well-timed finding of the ace. Thus, a successful navigation of the solitaire game. I mean, come on, folks. I mean, this is really, really, really ridiculous. So anyway, back to the border. Even worse, she can't get to the border. If you remember, I don't know how long ago when she was really pressed on this, have you gone to the border? And she was like, hey, or this was her response. Well, I haven't been to Europe either. So what? What is your point? This same Kamala, with her unwavering support for Israel, who hasn't been to Europe apparently, hasn't been to the border. Well, she did make a trip recently. And nope, it wasn't to Congress to stand next to Mike Johnson as Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the chamber. That was her duty, to show solidarity, to represent really the administration, not just the Democratic Party, but the administration. Nope, she didn't show up. In fact, half the Democratic Party didn't show up in protest. No, she didn't. Why? Well, she actually decided to take a trip, folks. She had to appear at the all-important speaking engagement, get ready, for a sorority in Indianapolis. That's our new TikTok, camera hogging, word salad eating, super honest Democratic presidential nominee, Kamala Harris. Now, I may not be super smart, but that sounds pretty bad to me. And you may think that I just fell out of a coconut tree. Yep, that was one of her phrases. And they get better. Folks, you're going to hear that she's awesome. You're going to hear that she's the savior of democracy, that she's wonderful. And apparently, at least at the time that I'm recording this, she's raised $100 million in just a few days. My message to you is this, and it's really twofold. Don't be confident, but don't be scared. She's a horrible candidate with a horrible track record and failure everywhere up and down her entire career. But unfortunately, she does have a lot of money. She will have the full Democratic election machine behind her. And then we'll see what happens with a VP candidate. Now, this is kind of a side note. It's not necessarily funny, but it does make me chuckle a little bit, sort of for the enigma, that really the conflict that exists within the Democratic Party. It's been talked about that Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, the wildly popular governor of Pennsylvania, would be a perfect Democrat choice for her. And he would likely deliver the state of Pennsylvania, a swing state, to her. And maybe she will choose him. I don't know. Here's the problem. He's Jewish. And when you talk about the extreme factions of the Democratic Party, I'm talking about the Rashida Tlaibs, the Ilhan Omars, the Cori Bushes, and the AOCs, they will have a fit. Why? Because they hate Israel. There's no other way to say it. They hate Israel. They love Hamas. So I do find that somewhat amusing that the party that claims it's all-inclusive, well, all-inclusive as long as you're not Jewish and you don't support Israel. Folks, we have to vote. We have to get the message out to our communities, how important this is. And speaking of community, no one actually can describe the importance of community better than Kamala Harris. In fact, let me just quote her here. We've invested an additional $12 billion into community banks because we know that community banks are in the community and understand the needs and desires of that community, as well as the talent and capacity of the community. Now, I don't know what she said. Maybe you do. You got to get the words out, folks. You got to talk to your family, your friends, and neighbors. And why? Because it's time for us to do what we've been doing, and that time is every day. Yes, you guessed it. That is another one of her famous quotes. And just for fun, I personally believe that the passage of time is also very significant as we talk about between now and November on Election Day. Apparently, Kamala thinks the passage of time is really important as well. And I quote, "The governor and I, we were all doing a tour of the library here and talking about the significance of the passage of time," right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is a great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs. There is such a great significance to the passage of time when you think of a day in the life of our children. Huh? I have no idea what to do that. Folks, this lady is fantastic. For the comedians, she's going to be a boom. For comedy, for late night TV, for quotes, she could probably keep us going on the grid for the next 4 to 5 years. But that would only happen if her quotes are in the media because she wins the presidency. We got to stop that. Get the word out. Don't sit on your laurels. Don't be overconfident. We need to be enthusiastic. We need to vote. We cannot let the person who was voted in 2019 as the most liberal person in Congress to be making decisions at the highest office. Folks, until next time, when we talk about whatever's going on in our country on the grid.